Glad I don't have to read this. Good morning. Good morning. The title of the message this morning, Spirit of Pilgrimage. I started reading Psalm 84, and in there it talks about the spirit of pilgrimage. And so I started preparing the message, and of course I had to send the title of the message earlier so that you could get it into all the bulletins and such like that. And then Friday I was sitting around and realized, oh, it's Thanksgiving, pilgrims. Oh, so I'm topical. There you go. So yeah, the Psalm 84 is what they call a Song of Zion, it's regarded as one of the prettiest of the Psalms. And so what we'd like to do is just walk through the first half of it and see what it can say to us about this whole idea of pilgrimage. Talking in the song even about we keep going down the road. We keep moving down the road. And the pilgrimage, the way I see it, is that each of us is on a journey, and that we don't arrive. We continue to go and reach, if we will apply ourselves, we find a deeper and deeper consciousness of the divine within ourselves, and a more and more concrete or flourishing expression of the divine through our lives. And that continues to grow. And so what I'd like to look at in the psalm is it kind of shows some of the steps, some of the different places we can find ourselves in that place of pilgrimage, in that experience of pilgrimage. So it starts off, how lovely is your dwelling place, Lord Almighty. My soul yearns, even faints for the courts of the Lord. My flesh and my heart cry out for the living God. Even a sparrow has found a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may have her young, a place near your altar, Lord Almighty, my King and my God. Blessed are those who dwell in your house. They are ever praising your name. Blessed are those whose strength is in you, whose heart is set on pilgrimage. As they pass through the valley of Baca, they make it a place of springs, and the autumn rains bring pools to it. They go from strength to strength till they reach God in Zion. And so what I'd like to do is, again, look at some of the flow of the psalm to show, to take some ideas on where we can be sometimes at different times in our pilgrimage. It starts off, he says, how lovely is your dwelling place, and he uses very big terms, Lord Almighty, my King, my God, and he talks about my soul yearns and even faints for the courts of the Lord. And you get the idea that at this point in his pilgrimage, he's a little bit distant. He's a little bit further off maybe from that place of intimacy, from that place of knowingness. Sometimes when I'm in that pilgrimage, I get to a place where I think I've arrived. I've got it. And then life takes me a little further down the road, and I recognize there's more to learn. There's more to experience. There's more to know in the divine. And so a lot of times I'll find myself talking like, okay, I know God's still there, even though the feeling is not there, even though that what I'm used to sensing, what I'm used to knowing, whatever is not there, because I'm moving into a different place. And so maybe sometimes we'll resort to remind ourselves, okay, what I'm heading for is God, who is God of all. He's Lord Almighty, okay? King and God, and we're trying to quiet ourselves. We're trying to calm ourselves, saying, we're on the right track, okay? I'm on the right track. I'm going in the right direction. Because there's a part of us that just wants to go back. I know what that felt like. I know I'm safe back there. I know what that feels like. I know what it means to be back there. So, I'm moving. Okay, I'm moving toward the Lord Almighty, and this kind of thing. And so it's not as intimate maybe as it was earlier on that pilgrimage, early on that journey. And he says, "My soul yearns, even faints, for the courts of the Lord." Sometimes, again, as we're moving on to that next level, there's a place, I can't remember who it was that said, when I'm on a journey to another level of knowingness, the way I can tell that I'm really moving there is that I lose sight of the shore that I left, and I can't see the shore that I'm heading for yet. And that can be a place of either trepidation or of adventure, depending on how we want to approach it. And sometimes during the day, it can go back and forth between one or the other as we're going through that. But he's crying out for the Lord and for the living God, and he says, even a sparrow has found a home. God's taking care of these birds. And they're fine. They've got a home. This kind of stuff, a place near your altar, and it's like he's maybe reminding himself again. Okay, they're taken care of. I'm going to be taken care of too. And so he's in this place of pilgrimage. He's in this the first steps, if you will, of moving out toward that next level, toward a deeper understanding, a deeper fellowship, grasp of the divine within his life. And then he starts to talk a little more intimately. He says, "Blessed are those who dwell in your house. They are ever praising you." And so he slowed down and he stopped and he realized, he says, fortunate, how fortunate those people are that dwell in your house. They're always praising you. And you can imagine the glee, the excitement of it, man, I talk to these people and they're just always saying good things about what it is to dwell in the Lord, what it is to dwell in the divine. And again, by whatever name we might use for God, by whatever name we might use for the divine, how they're ever praising this God in their lives, because as they dwell in the house of the Lord. And so, again, he's starting to calm down and quiet down. And it's like, oh yeah, I know some people who have been on this pilgrimage too. I know some people who have been at this stage in this pilgrimage. I know some people who are working and again, developing a deeper dwelling within the house of the Lord. And they're always praising. They're always saying good things about what's going on. So I'm going to keep moving. Because I want to know that too. I want to know that experience too. Because if they're praising, if they're expressing gratitude and thanks and wonder over their experience with that, I don't want to miss that. And so, and again, he's dropped the titles. He's no longer saying, Lord Almighty, my King, my God, and this. It's more of an intimate, it's like, oh, it's more of a oneness. Rather than this grand title, if I approach a king, you go on your knees and they're way off in the distance, whatever. But if I'm relating with the divine, I'm quiet in my heart, and I'm one with. There's no distance. There's no separation. There's no off in a different place that we go to find that divine. And so he speaks. His tone is becoming more relaxed and more intimate in his ideas about this. And he says, "Blessed are those whose strength is in you. Fortunate are those who find their strength in the divine. Their heart is set. They have their hearts set on pilgrimage. There are different things we can find our strength in. Sometimes we find our strength in, I'm just going to understand this. I'm going to sit down and read about this. I'm going to study on it, and I'm going to know it. And then I'm never going to be in trouble again, because I'm just going to know these things. I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty smart. And so I'm going to just sit down, and sometimes we can find our strength in the sense that I know about this. I know about God. I'm set. Don't bother telling me any more, different like this. I've got it figured out. I know that. And the whole idea of pilgrimage at that point is kind of not a real exciting idea, because I know. I've just got it. I've got it figured out. And if I go on pilgrimage, then I have to give up that which I've been relying on all along, which is the fact that I know. And instead, if my strength is in God, my strength is in knowing that the divine, again, is a constant journey, is a constant discovery. If we were able to, or if somehow the divine, struck us with every knowledge of all beingness at one time, in the words of the 60s, it would blow our mind. Okay, I mean, there's just no way it's like, and at that point we probably would, they'd probably cart us off someplace and dab our chin every once in a while and this kind of stuff. But so it comes to us in pieces. It comes to us again as a journey, and not because the divine hides the divine self from us. It's meant, I think, to be a journey. It's meant to be, think about the relationships we've had in our lives. We don't know that person perfectly and thoroughly the first day we meet. Sometimes we think so. It's like, that love at first sight. Oh man, boop, boop, yep, this is perfect. This is never going to change. This is always the way it's going to be. Yay. And 6 months later we go, well, that's not quite the way it was. And so in the same sense, the relationship develops, the relationship forms and grows deeper and more expressive as we go through time. And again, it's a pilgrimage. It's a pilgrimage. It's a journey that we're on, going through to discover and to become. We're not created to just be or to be static. We're not created to be static. We're created to grow, in relationship, in expression. And he goes on and he says, as they pass through the valley of Baca, they make it a place of springs. Now, reading the commentators, there is no really place that this refers to, an actual place. Baca in the Hebrew can be translated as weeping or dryness, a place of dryness or weeping. So he says, as we go through these places where we don't really feel totally jazzed, maybe, that things are drying a little less than exciting, a little less than invigorating, if you will. There's these dry times that we experience. Again, things are being deconstructed. What we know to be, this idea, we all have an idea of who God is. And it has different things that hold it up, the different principles, different ideas, things we've read, things we've contemplated on, and this kind of stuff. And so to get to that next level of pilgrimage, a lot of times those have to be deconstructed. A lot of times those ideas that we have, those things that we really think are it, need to be gently and sometimes not so gently. Oftentimes when I say, okay, God, I'm willing to learn more. I'm willing to become more. And I have an idea about what I need to do to become more. I have an idea about what things there are in my life that stand in the way of that. And so I try, okay, I'm willing, whatever. And then God has these other ideas, and God starts to meddle. God just starts to meddle. And it's like, all these things, I'm ready with this. And God says, yeah, but I want that one. And I'm like, which one? And so he reaches down for that one that's really deeply embedded maybe, and that's something that we've relied on and maybe not even told ourselves that we're relying on. And God's saying, I want to show you how big I am. I want to show you how big I am. And if you'll let me, I can change that. I can open your mind, open your heart to know a deeper reality, to know a broader expression, a broader experience of the divine. And so, again, when I come to that place sometimes where it's not, as those things are being deconstructed, it's not always comfortable. It's not always comfortable inside because, again, there are things I've relied on. And so maybe there's a sense of this valley of Baca, a sense of dryness, a sense of being different than I'm used to. And what he says is, as we pass through those valley of Baca, we make it a place of springs. We make it a place of springs. So even though we are experiencing a change, a different, and most people do really well with change. So as we're going through this time of change, and especially something that personal, especially something that deep and that personal, as we're going through that type of change, what he says is we don't need to stop being a blessing to the world. Because here the translation of the words springs and then later rain can be translated, if I'm not mistaken, my commentator, as blessings. In other words, and the spring is not just a splash, or it's something deep within the earth that provides water, provides sustenance, whatever, to it. And so what we get to be is springs. What we get to be, even though we don't feel maybe quite like we're blessings, because things are changing, things are becoming different. If our strength is in the divine, we can continue to be springs, blessings for other people, and that is the because if I'm coming from a place again where I'm relying on something other than the divine, usually what I'm looking for is saying, okay, provide some springs, and we're looking for somebody else to provide those type of things for us. Because we're not sure we're enough. We're not sure, and we're probably a little resentful about having to make this doggone pilgrimage again, because I've been here before. I've done this. I thought I was done. I thought I had it. And the good news is, the divine keeps going. Okay, just keep moving. You'll like this. Eventually, you'll like this. And so. So when we go through these places, we make it a place of springs. We make it a place that provides blessings for others. Again, because we're relying on the divine. And it says, and the autumn rains also cover it with pools. The autumn rains in Israel are a natural thing. They're a regular, the farmers rely on them. It just always happens. There's rain in the fall. There's rain in the fall. And so what I get from this combination of ideas, the thing that we will make it a place of springs and the rain will come, is that, again, like in all things, it's a cooperation. Somebody was saying that whenever I'm going at something new, I'm applying something new, I pray like it's all up to God. And then I work like it's all up to me. And in the same sense here, I make it a place of springs. I'm responsible to make it a place of springs. And then he says, and God's faithful. The rain comes, God is blessing me through this whole thing, and the rains are there all the time. Even though I feel different and I feel like, I'm not sure what all that's going on, God is faithful to be God through this all. And so it is always a cooperation. It is always a cooperation when I'm relying on the divine. And it can be an exciting thing to all of a sudden see that we're being springs, that we're providing springs, that we're providing blessings for others. There's a gratification, if you will. That's not a good word. There's a sense of pleasure, of joy, whatever, when I know that because of the divine's work in my life, I'm a blessing to others. I can be a blessing to others and be a provider of spring. And he says, and they go from strength to strength till each appears before God in Zion. And so, again, this pilgrimage continues. We're on this pilgrimage, and we've come to this place where we've realized, we're a place of springs. We're knowing the blessings of God on a faithful basis. We're creating blessings for others. And he says we go from strength to strength I'm becoming more. I'm becoming more. I thought I had it pretty well figured out, and I was doing pretty, and we are, and doing pretty well. And all of a sudden it's like, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I was capable of loving at this extent. I didn't know I was capable of being this much to my universe, because that pilgrimage brings us again, opens our minds. The things that maybe before limited us or held us back because we had some, whatever it was, whether it was a painful experience from the past or some kind of idea boxed up of who God is or how life works and this kind of thing. And we've finally been willing to say, okay, I'm willing to move beyond that. I'm willing to go on. We go from strength to strength. And again, it continues, like the song said, until we're dead. It's meant to continue throughout our lives, throughout the time that we're here. And beyond the transition, maybe so. Maybe it's in another form it continues. But this pilgrimage idea, this idea that we are pilgrims, that we're exploring and developing. We don't know everything that we can know. We don't know everything that we can know. There's a love, there's a level of energy and beauty and creativity that this universe, that's possible in this universe, and we just haven't discovered it all. And so that's what the pilgrimage is all about, I think, is that idea that, okay, I can become more. I can become more. And then those that are born after us, whatever, see that idea, and we pass that idea on to them. Says, yeah, you're going to know some things, and we've discovered something, but you're going to discover more. You're going to find out more. I recently resigned my job as manager of the department I was in, and they found a replacement manager for me and brought that person in. And I built it in a certain way, and I built this department, and it works. It works, doggone it. And it's a good department, this kind of stuff. And this person comes in and says, oh, that can be changed. Oh, that's not the best way we could do that. We could do it a different way like that. And it's like, yes, you're right. And so if I'm not open to pilgrimage, if I'm not open to this idea that there's more to be realized, more to be experienced, then I get resentful, and I try to figure out a way to snipe a little, but when I'm in a place where I'm relying on the divine, I can rejoice in that, because again, the company's going to go on and be better than it was with that, maybe, and this whole idea of pilgrimage, this whole idea that I don't know everything that I could know today. I don't know the divine in a way that I could know the divine tomorrow or next year. I tell people, I hope that at this time next year, if I'm talking with you, I'll sit back and look and go, how could I have thought that I knew anything? How could I have thought that I really was knowledgeable or had that experience of the divine? Because it's so much more now. It's so much more now. And if I'll give myself to it, if I'll give myself to the development of that, to time and prayer meditation, to fellowship. The reason we're here is because several people wanted to have fellowship around the divine and didn't at that time. And so when I give myself to that, different ideas start coming, and it's like, oh, really? That's possible? That's possible? And so I move further ahead in my pilgrimage. And I go back maybe to that place where, again, I'm calling God Lord Almighty, and just reminding myself, okay, it's safe. It's safe to move forward. It's what we want to do. We are more than we know. We are more than we know. And the whole idea of pilgrimage, of discovering that, seems to be the design that life is given to us in. And if we'll give ourselves over to that, we can become, again, more than we ever thought, and know the divine in ways that we never thought possible.